All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive, and I mean massive, shift happening in a place you might not normally think about, the Ontario-Michigan Waste Corridor. We're going to see exactly how cutting-edge Edge AI technology, specifically the 905 Wood digital refinery, is literally turning physical liabilities, like trash, into high-value digital assets. It's a fascinating look at how tech is offering a total escape hatch for stressed global supply chains. Here is a quick roadmap for us today. 1. The Ontario-Michigan trash pipe. 2. The transshipment trap. 3. The squeeze at home. 4. Enter the sentient bridge. 5. Explainable compliance and AI. And finally, 6. Turning that data into money. Okay, Section 1. The Ontario-Michigan trash pipe. 3.46 million tons. I want you to really picture that number. That is the staggering volume of municipal solid waste that Ontario exports down to Michigan every single year. Just imagine a continuous daily queue of transport trucks rolling across the Windsor-Detroit and Sarnia-Port Huron bridges. In fact, this imported Canadian waste accounts for a whopping 14.35% of all the waste buried in Michigan's landfills. It is an incredibly critical artery of North American logistics. Now, why do those trucks keep rolling? Well, it all comes down to some pretty extreme economic arbitrage. Back in Ontario, specifically the Greater Toronto Area, tipping fees are steep, sitting at about $189.86 per ton. But across the border, Michigan's accept-side dipping fee has historically been practically free, near zero, at just 0.36 cents per ton. So even with proposed rate hikes over in Michigan, the delivered cost is just massively cheaper. It makes this entire corridor highly lucrative for commercial haulers. Which brings us to Section 2, the transshipment trap. We're essentially looking at a ticking clock here, with a rapid escalation of regulations hitting in 2026. First, the collapse of Ontario's commercial blue box recycling program forced businesses to completely reroute their waste. At the exact same time, Washington started activating aggressive cross-border tariffs, like the Section 122 global surcharge and those upcoming August 50% Section 338 duties on wood products. It's gotten so tense that Ontario Premier Doug Ford actually bypassed standard environmental assessments to fast-track local landfill expansions. He explicitly cited the need to protect the province just in case Washington totally shuts the border to Ontario's garbage. And Washington is absolutely targeting this waste stream. They're slapping a direct 35% tariff on HS code 3825.10. That is the official classification for municipal solid waste. But here's the kicker. For the folks actually running these logistics daily, that 35% tariff is literally just the tip of the spear. This right here is the transshipment trap, and it is a massive compliance headache. Here's how U.S. Customs and Border Protection argues it. They say that unsorted Canadian municipal trash naturally contains fractional traces of consumer packaging originally manufactured in China. And because of those tiny traces, CBP claims the loads actually violate the strict de minimis rules of the USMCA. The result? They classify the whole thing as illegal transshipment and hit the hauler with a devastating 40% penalty. So literally overnight, your standard $125 customs filing skyrockets into a catastrophic $1,140 per truck fine. Ouch. All right, Section 3, the squeeze at home. So while the border is getting incredibly complicated, up in Canada, Ontario operates under OREG 347, which features this really strict derived from rule. What this means is the province basically operates on a guilty until proven clean legal framework. The entire burden of proof is shifted squarely onto the generator of the waste. You can't just wave a hand and say your construction debris is clean wood. You have to legally, definitively prove it. And proving a load is clean is no joke. It has to pass these incredibly strict Schedule 4 leachate limits. We're talking microscopic tolerances here for things like arsenic, lead, and chromium. I mean, even a single solitary piece of weathered, treated pine hiding some chromated copper arsenate can trip these thresholds. And if that happens, the entire commercial dumpster gets classified as hazardous waste, which comes with some absolutely massive handling fines. To make matters more urgent, these environmental rules are accelerating because Ontario is quite literally running out of physical geology. The province is facing total domestic clay-lined landfill exhaustion by a 2034 midpoint. That hard geological reality means the potential closure of the cross-border corridor isn't just some abstract political debate. It's a scheduled operational crisis. Moving on to Section 4, enter the sentient bridge. So how do logistics professionals actually navigate the squeeze? How do you replace error-prone human inspectors at scale? Well, 95 Wood introduces their digital refinery. It acts as what they call a Layer 1 compliance gate, and the UI and workflow setup is honestly brilliantly simple. The whole thing runs on a standard Google Pixel 10 Pro mobile device. Powered by Tensor G5 Edge TPU silicon, the LiteRT runtime engine, and the Gemma 4E2B visual model, this Edge AI tech stack transforms a smartphone into an unblinking 24/7 automated compliance station, right there at the bin. Operationally, works like this. The driver just snaps an image, and the multimodal AI dematerializes that physical waste at the source in under 500 milliseconds. Half a second. And crucially, it does this entirely offline, no cloud connection required, which makes it absolutely perfect for remote demolition sites with terrible cell service. Section 5. Explainable compliance and AI. Now, to survive these strict cross-border audits, the platform has some really clever safety mechanisms built right in. Obvious clean loads pass immediately, right? But ambiguous loads, the ones falling into that 70 to 85% amber band, are safely escalated to a secondary, larger AI model running right on the device. This dual model consensus is huge because it prevents false positives, making absolutely sure that weathered wood, hiding hidden chemical preservatives, never, ever makes it onto the truck. This whole approach requires a totally different mindset. I love this quote from 95 Wood. We do not move garbage. We convert physical matter into queryable data and data into monetizable assets. I mean, that is a profound paradigm shift. They're completely moving away from traditional physical logistics and planting a flag directly in data management and asset creation. And here is how they protect the shipper. The system's workflow leverages the phone's hardware Titan M2 secure element. By forcing a physical screen hold for just 2 seconds, it creates an unalterable, tamper-evident record. It cryptographically seals the GPS, the kernel hash, and the timestamps into a court-admissible digital twin of the load. This compliance package completely bypasses the USMCA transshipment trap because it legally proves the load is not mixed municipal waste. It's wholly Canadian-origin clean wood, putting it safely outside that turf wall. And finally, Section 6, turning data into money. Just look at the immediate local savings here. Ontario applies a circle levy to waste to encourage recycling. Unverified mixed waste gets hit with a steep $60 per ton penalty. But simply by using this AI to classify the wood as clean data right at the source, generators drop straight into the $5 per ton band. They completely avoid that towering levy, saving general contractors over $1,053 per 144-yard mothership. You multiply that across hundreds of loads, and the savings are just astronomical. The sales and financial engineering behind this workflow is super fascinating too. By using a decoupled Stripe billing architecture, the general contractor gets transparent, locked base logistics rates and a totally transparent levy pass-through on a simple 7-line invoice. Meanwhile, 905 Wood completely offsets their own hardware costs by retaining the generated carbon offsets, the carbon dividend, at 100% margin. It is just a perfect, seamless win-win workflow. And let me tell you, that carbon dividend is not small change. That $7,660 represents the potential Canadian dollar yield per single load in MRV spot high carbon removal certificates. When this perfectly clean, verified wood is diverted away from the landfill and instead routed for high-temperature pyrolysis to create biochar, it generates these highly valuable, globally tradable carbon credits. So as cross-border tariffs aggressively rise and domestic landfill capacities vanish before our very eyes, I want to leave you with this final thought. The era of blindly bearing physical matter is ending. When physical landfills actually close, will data be your only passport? In the future of global supply chains and regulatory survival, a verifiable digital twin might just be your absolute most valuable asset. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the systems that build our world.